Hey, we're back on the podcast with the father of SEO, Mr. Bruce Clay, who has been a world-renowned expert in the field of search engine optimization since 1996. His websites are bruceclay.com, SEOtraining.com, SEOtools.com, and very exciting, prewriter.ai. Now, Bruce Clay Inc., that's BCI, they have grown into a leading search marketing company, providing SEO services and consulting, pay-per-click advertising management, development, social media marketing services, and Bruce has helped countless clients improve their website's rankings in search. But now we're in this age of AI, artificial intelligence, and with all these new, sometimes multiple times a day, innovations happening, Bruce continues to help clients navigate this new AI landscape and stay ahead of the competition. So we'll be here talking about the past and the future and SEO and AI and content and all this crazy internet world we're living in. So, Mr. Bruce, glad to be speaking with you.
Hello, glad to be here.
Wonderful. And so with everything always happening, right? That it seems like there's always some kind of a slap, some kind of a revolution, some kind of a tool. It's exhausting to keep up sometimes, but what has you excited? What has you just energized, jazzed about the present and the future when it comes to all this digital marketing stuff?
Okay, let me give a quick story. When SEO started, and I got into it in 1996, it was exciting. It wasn't being done by anybody. We were inventing, and it was Wild West, okay? Over time, over the last 29 years, SEO has stabilized a lot. It has become more mainstream. There's a lot of practitioners. There's a lot of conferences. You can find tons and tons of content on the web about it. Then along comes AI, and it's just like the beginning all over again. It's somewhat Wild West. It is, as you said, it changes a couple times a day. That is exciting. It has almost rejuvenated the SEO space. Now, admittedly, AI does a lot of other things than SEO, but in the SEO space, it's pretty exciting to be able to get in and do some really unique, high productive kinds of tools and methodologies and integrations. And it has me pretty much excited. Yeah. Well, what most people have to think about is in the beginning it was SEO, and then down below it somewhere was content. It wasn't as peer to peer as it was supposed to be. Over time, as Google became more oriented on EEAT, expertise, authority, trust kind of things, the content has moved up. And the content is very near SEO. Now, SEO is far more technical. Content is far more usability and storytelling. It gets your message out and your tone and your voice and all the stuff that's important. And along comes AI. And what AI has done is it has given people power to generate content faster. Now, admittedly, the web application of AI is maybe going to be 1, 2, 3% of all AI. AI is going to be integrated into accounting systems and management systems and reporting. I mean, AI is going to be everywhere, but it's a tool, not the specific solution. So in the SEO content space, what we believe is that the content needs to be better. And one of the ways to make it better, of course, is to do better research, not have gaps, not have, blind spots, if you will. Writers have writer's block, miss things that's based on their experience. And so we could use AI to fill the content gaps at a research level and give it to the writer. And then they can write much, much better. The arms race that you mentioned is absolutely true. And a great many sites don't understand really how content is created. And for instance, right now, any of us, you, I, anybody can walk up to chat and type in a keyword and say, give me an article. And it will. And when you read it, it makes total sense. We're having fun with it. It's logically an article. And you run it through a tool and it'll say it's 86% AI, maybe 100% AI, because there's fingerprints and footprints all over this thing as to what AI looks like. And when in fact, that arms race, what's going to be the difference is when you put in a keyword, how does it actually generate a page, right? And who's the page for? And you mentioned our tool. The difference is that writers still are needed. They're the ones that know whether it's true or false. They're the ones that do the style and the mission and tie it to the history of the company. They're the ones that are the artists at that level, but AI can do the research for them. And I think that's going to be the difference. I think if you expect AI to write your article, there's going to be fallacies, hallucinations. There's all going to be a lot of things that are wrong. And it's going to be average. I mean, the way AI builds it is it's sort of a consensus engine. If enough people on the web say the same thing, it's going to say the same thing. That's the way it works. And so all it does is regurgitate common knowledge. It doesn't go a step further. It doesn't analyze to a level of invention. And that's the job of the writer. So in the SEO space, you have the SEO and you have the content and you have AI now that is somewhat superimposed on the content generation process. Do you still need keywords? Of course. But now there's differences. For instance, if you don't mind me taking a little time, when you create an article using chat, you type in a keyword and it generates an article. In our world, you type in a keyword and we determine who would ask for that output. We don't go and just generate an article. We say, what's the persona that would type in that query? Then we say, for that and that query, what is their pain point? And for their pain point, what is the solution? And for the solution, what are those keywords? Now build an article around that. That's a very different sequence than the average person who just types in a keyword and gets an article. And our depth, when we create a content brief, it folds on itself. We have self-testing of 130 tests. When AI writes an article, we test it. We have AI test it itself against 130 tests and rewrite it, fixing every error as it goes, so that it not only writes the article, but then it rewrites itself and then rewrites itself until it's it's really honed. And then that goes to a writer. It doesn't go right on the web. It goes to a writer. What most people also don't really think about is intent. Now, we know that the intent of something on the web is it transactional, e-commerce, or informational, education? And each intent has a entirely different determination about what makes it AI. And if it's transactional, it expects somewhat of a rigid format, templates, e-commerce environment. And if it's informational, it expects a totally wild stream of consciousness format, not rigid. And so when you try to test, how do I create an article? The formats the way it's created has to differ based upon the intent. So our overall process is about 160 steps. 160 steps. And we create a brief. Well, 160 steps at about 3 minutes each would take 9 hours. And we do it in 20 minutes. And yeah, 20 minutes is forever if you're waiting, but 9 hours is worse. And right. So our operation from what used to happen, and we've seen some nice graphs out on the web. It used to be that the amount of time to create an article crept up to like a little bit over 4 hours, just the writing step. That doesn't even include copywriting and SEO and anything else. 4 hours for that step. And then when AI hit, if you do it right, it drops. And in our case, it dropped over half. So the advantage to marketers is if you're looking at content, AI helps you by making the research step more comprehensive, fewer gaps, fewer blind spots, consistent performance, which really is a big help. You can now write something instead of 1 article a day, you can write 2. Now you're talking productivity, you're talking bottom line, you're talking the ability to get things up on the web faster. A lot of important things can come from this. And so if you consider that AI is a tool and not a solution, right? The way a writer looks at it is AI is a tool and I'm the solution, right? That's the way it should be. And we support that. Our product was called Pre-Writer for exactly that reason. It was designed for that reason. I'm a big believer that you just don't take the fate of your company and just blindly give it to AI and expect it to do anything other than embarrass you. You have to use AI in the writer. There has to be a checks and balances in there. Well, a big part of it is, as you mentioned earlier, we have training and we have tools, which gives us a competitive advantage. Our training course is somewhat legendary, and I've been doing it master classes at conferences and things like that. So the training is a strong value add for us, and the tools give us advantages. We don't reinvent everybody's tool. There's a lot of big products out there that have 1 million users doing exactly the same thing. What we do is our tools find special stuff. sort of like PreWriter is an amazing tool. And we even have a humanizer routine. It's actually not one tool. It's like 40 tools. And in there, we have a humanizer that you can run it against any kind of article and it'll move it down to human status just by changing it. So we have a lot of very nice tools. And the thing that is fundamental about them is that each one wasn't to be a tool, it was to solve a problem, a specific problem. And a lot of it is to solve SEO problems. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we do want to do that. Here's a pet peeve of mine. Do you know what an FAQ is? Now, if you look at the web, you'll find there's this thing called an FAQ and a one paragraph definition. What is it kind of thing? It's a glossary excerpt. And so what I, in my SEO world, decided is that that's the wrong format. That what you do in an FAQ is you actually answer it. Almost the Wikipedia approach, almost. And so I've decided on all my pages, you can go to my blog posts and look at any of the bottom of the page. There's an FAQ section. And it's got like 5-6 paragraphs telling you about the FAQ topic. And then it has 20 some steps about how to solve it. And I'm finding that on almost every blog post, if you take the question that it answers for the FAQ, I am the featured snippet in almost all of them. Or I'm mentioned in the AIO, or I'm somewhere in the top 3 for all of those. And so the methodology that we take from SEO and then we can fold it into the content phases is a really strong, powerful thing to do. I mean, what we know in general is that it used to be that there was like 4% of all queries were questions. Now it's 16 and growing. Well, if you project that out, eventually the question, which is the FAQ, it is eventually going to become very important for ranking at an SEO level. So what I decided to do on my website is I put my FAQ format on the bottom of 3,000 pages. Every page has its own FAQ, contextual to the subject of the page, so that if the search engine comes and they look at my website and they say, oh, look, that website answers 3,000 SEO questions, they must be an expert. And all of a sudden, my rankings have gone up. My traffic, all of it helps. So we've done very, very well because we're able to use AI for the content, and the content is the right format for SEO and all of that. I'll tell you another tweak, and it's a little bit of a tweak. If you're going to do this, the SEO has to understand content, and the content people have to understand a little bit about SEO, right? Or they won't be able to speak to each other. And AI has to make it so that it solves both sides of that problem. And we are now folding in CRO, conversion rate optimization, as a subcategory of SEO instead of its own out in left field discipline. Because it turns out that if you really have the solution, that you're dealing with the fact that it's one thing to get traffic. It's one thing to rank and have people read what you're doing, but it's as important to get them to do what you want them to do when they do it. And the conversion rate optimization has to be integrated into the content. That means it has to be integrated into the AI solution for content, which means it has to talk to the SEO component. And all of that the SEO, the content, the conversion, all of that has to integrate. And so I'm building really a lot of the CRO stuff into SEO and the AI implementation. So when we generate a page, all the best ideas from CRO is built into the page. It isn't just a keyword. As I said, you got 160 steps. Nobody can do them one at a time. It'd take forever. Assuming you even got it right, and assuming the chat even answered you. Right. I mean, and one of the things that's frustrating about it is sometimes I ask AI to do something and it comes out and it just summarizes and gives me 3 sentences and instead of 4 paragraphs, and paraphrasing and skipping, and it just does what it wants to do based upon time of day and whether it's a full moon. And fortunately, the way we did it is we aren't doing it as prompts. Prewriter is actually an application, and it interfaces to the various LLMs, not just one. And so what we can do is we can decide this one's running slow, let's switch to that one, or we can determine this one's great for transactional and this one's great for informational. And we can actually, through our application, direct the queries to where we want them to go through APIs instead of through prompts. And now we've got the performance back. We've got the suitability to the query back. It's like chat on steroids when you get down to the bottom line. Technically, our briefs, sometimes they're hardly requiring change, and sometimes the tone is just totally off. It depends on the website. But if I can save you 2 hours per post, that's where AI is used. And a lot of people, they use they have their favorites, right? And I like this one and I like that one and it works for me and I got to rewrite it anyhow. Well, then you're welcome to use AI. Our tool is very inexpensive. What I did was I took the cost of running the script and put in my programming overhead and my servers. I have 60 some servers. I put in all the overhead and I said, okay, I won't make a lot of money. Let's just get this out there. I can generate a keyword list, a persona, a page, an outline, an FAQ, hints for the writers, all of that. The 160 steps for under $5. Who wouldn't save 2 hours for $5? Right. So I'm not doing it so much to make money as to protect the internet from AI scammers. I hate to say it, but if we just turn the internet loose on anybody that could type in a keyword and publish a page, it's we're living in a slum. That isn't where we want to live. We want quality. And if it takes 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you right now, I would rather take 15 minutes for quality than stick in a prompt and publish crash. I mean, it to me that is not being a good industry advocate. Well, fundamentally, it's if you understand that it's going to take as much time as it needs to do the quality. As soon as time is not on the table, we have it priced right, we have it functioning right, we have all the pieces. I did a soft release of it, and I had everything in there. And we gave it to our writing team, and they had me remove half of it. They said, "You gave me so much information that it took me longer than if I just sat down and wrote it." So, I mean, there's been a honing process. Here's the true advantage. You go to prewriter.ai, you can register. We give you 20 tokens to play with. You don't even give us a credit card. We don't care. If you like it, you're going to get more tokens, and the tokens are cheap. As I said, we got it priced and honed. But yeah, try it for free. I mean, how can you go wrong? No harm, no foul, works great. And quite frankly, it was built, I like to say, it was built by somebody that cares about the industry, not somebody that's just throwing trash at the index. And I think it's the right solution. And it's, it's priced to be a no-brainer. I mean, most of these things you can run. If I say all I want is give me an outline of this article, and by the way, you can point it at a competitor. It doesn't have to be you. You can point it at a competitor and say, just give me an outline for that particular article. Our outline is a little different. We could go for hours on all the different technologies we've built in. But when we sequence an outline, it's sequenced by learning sequence, not topic sequence. So the reader makes sense because it evolves for the reader, and they learn as they go. I mean, it's so important to do things like that. And unless you tell chat to do it, they're not going to. But go to prewriter.ai, get some free tokens, try it. If you like it, you like it. It's really that simple. Well, I have SEO training for training. If you want to know SEO, that's where you go. There's an online curriculum and a classroom curriculum. I teach the classroom. I love that part. You just have to get used to my jokes. But then if you need SEO services at any level, it's bruceclay.com. That's where we go for that. Well, I have plenty of little quotes. The thing to remember, it's not the job of SEO to make a pig fly. If your site's a pig, SEO isn't going to fix it. Our job is to re-engineer it into an eagle. The biggest problem I think we face though in SEO is that many times people don't implement. And you shouldn't be surprised by the results you don't get for the work you don't do. That's a big issue. You want it takes energy. Free traffic isn't free. It takes energy to qualify. And those are the two big things I'd say are quotes that really ring true and have always rung true for the SEO space. Thank you very much for having me.